presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
From Hotlanta to cloudy and rainy Atlanta as we head to Game 2 as the Cincinnati Reds take on the Atlanta Braves on Fox Sports Ohio. Today, Game 2, the Reds against the Braves from Turner Field. Hi, hello, and welcome to Atlanta, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch and Jim Day, I'm George Grant. Well, the Reds started with only 3 wins for the better part of 2 months on the road in Major League Baseball. But, Chris, they've won 5 of their last 7. Pitching has had a lot to do with it.
It's a different ball club, George. It's a different feel in the clubhouse. They feel like they can compete when they get good starting pitching. The offense is coming around. They're playing solid defense. As evident last night, they're able to win the tight ball games, too. So this is a team certainly a lot different than they were back in early April and May.
One of the guys who's really been carrying the ledger for the Reds as a starting rotation guy is Brandon Finnegan. He's had quality start after quality start.
Well, he's had a pretty good run. The last 4 starts for Finnegan have been very good. I think he's coming off actually his best start of the year. His last time out against the St. Louis Cardinals, 7 innings of 2-run baseball where he only walked 1 and struck out 7. And the walks are a big thing for Brandon Finnegan because he's a guy that can certainly get his pitch count up there by not throwing the ball around the strike zone. But little by little, Finnegan is beginning to get the idea of not only changing speeds, but throwing the pitches to different parts of the strike zone. And the more he does that, the better he will be.
These 2 teams represent 2 of the youngest starting rotations in all of baseball. Julio Teheran is not only young, he's good.
It's hard to believe that Julio Teheran has already had 113 starts in the major leagues. I mean, this guy has regained his form that he had in 2014, where he was an all-star. He lost a little bit last year, but you got to remember he's only 25 years old. He's having a tremendous year if you look at all the inside numbers and eliminate absolutely the win-loss record. The Braves are simply scoring no runs at all for Teheran, and hopefully for him that continues. I wouldn't mind seeing him pitch a good game and end up losing.
Speaking of scoring runs, we've talked a lot in recent weeks about Jay Bruce, of course, and Adam Duvall in left field, 2 guys that have really been carrying the load. But a guy who keeps coming up in key situations, keeps adding energy is Tyler Holt.
You know, this guy is like unsuppressible. I mean, you just can't hold him down. One way or another, he's going to remind you why he's in the ball game. Maybe it's a little defense, maybe it's laying a bunt down, maybe it's taking an extra base as a runner. He's a guy that does bring that energy, but I think that he realizes if he doesn't play that hard and that style of baseball, he doesn't stay in the major league. So every team needs a guy like Holt. The Reds have him.
He had a walk with the bases loaded last night. That forced in what proved to be the winning run. He's come up with great defense, great offense, and the Reds hope he comes up with a little bit more tonight. Coming up next, a whole bunch of Reds come from the Georgia area. This is the big guy. JD has that story next.
Ohio was brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup. Only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Getting you set for Game 2 of a 4-game set. And every time the Reds play the Braves here in Atlanta, it is a homecoming for Brandon Phillips, a terrific high school athlete here in the area. Good basketball player, good football player. In fact, he had a scholarship to the University of Georgia, but baseball was his best sport. And as a high school senior, as we check out our mini player profile, Phillips, well, we know he could hit. .630 average, 14 home runs, 50 runs driven in that season as a senior. But he was also a pitcher. That's right, Brandon Phillips was a pitcher. Had a 5-0 record, 60 strikeouts in 42 innings. And I talked to him about his days as a high school pitcher.
I really love pitching. You know, it was just something I could really do. And, you know, Bob Gibson, I wanted to be like him, being a pitcher. And you know, I just try to go out there and try to be the best at whatever position I was really playing.
What was your repertoire? What pitches?
I threw a fastball, changeup, and a knuckleball. I threw a curveball every once in a while, but you know, I throw a real hard knuckleball. And Billy Hatcher, he can vouch for my knuckleball. It's pretty good.
And he still throws that knuckleball when the players are warming up, and it's still pretty nasty. Braves and Reds. It's been a pretty joyous June for Cincinnati. Can they continue it? George Grant and Chris Welsh with all the play-by-play action of Reds baseball coming up on Fox Sports Ohio.
Every home run in this game raises $7,400 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. Back here at Turner Field in Atlanta, the final year for Turner Field. Only 22 years of baseball here following the 1996 Olympics. The last time the Reds will visit here, let's check the starting lineup for Brian Price and the Cincinnati Reds coming in. Zach Cozart will be back in the leadoff spot. Joey Votto will bat number 2. Brandon Phillips returning to his hometown area, hits in the number 3 hole. Jay Bruce, 14 homers on the year, bats in the cleanup spot. Eugenio Suarez, Kyle Waldrop will get a start in left. Duvall gets the night off. Holt in center, Barnhart and Finnegan the pitcher bats in the 9th spot. And here is the hard-throwing young right-hander Julio Teheran. Chris.
Well, not only hard-throwing, but good control, very advanced for his age, which is only 25 years old. Teheran is no doubt the ace of this staff the Braves have. He signed to a long-term deal here. They have him under control through the year 2020 if they want to take an option. And at today's prices, it is a very favorable team contract that they have at Julio Teheran. He throws a fastball, a changeup, a slider, occasional curveball.
One ball and one strike to the right-handed swinging Cozart. Skies this one to right. Markakis over. Backpedaling at the edge of the warning track. He'll haul it in for the first out. Let's check out your four defensive alignment for the Atlanta Braves. Jeff Francoeur back in the left field spot. The veteran, once a Brave, now a Brave again. Alex Smith moves to center field, and Markakis as usual over and right. Garcia. Chase Darno is your shortstop. Peterson back at second. Freddie Freeman over at first, and Tyler Flowers will get the start in game 2 of the series. There's Joey in at 237, 11 homers and 35 knocked in. For the Reds last night, Votto was 2 for 3. Part of the Reds' 9th inning rally, led off with a double, and then after 2 walks, 1 intentional, the bases were loaded, and Tyler Holt finally walked with those bases loaded to force in what proved to be the winning run in the 9-8 victory. Big lanky right-hander, easy motion and easy gas coming out of that hand too, huh, Chris?
Well, he's got really good delivery, and as you watch Teheran pitch, you'll notice that he doesn't have any wasted effort where he falls off towards first base. There's not a lot of wasted rotational work going on. He stays behind the baseball. He drives on a straight line towards his target and keeps his head very still.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Votto, who chokes up, takes it up high. What a difference a day makes. Yesterday in the low 90s when the game started, the exact temperature was 90 degrees at game time. Today 75 after about 4 hours of rain from the 2 o'clock hour all the way to the 6 o'clock hour here in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah, our rental car temperature gauge was at 98 before the rain this afternoon.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Is that about what you shot?
Well, thankfully no. But it's right in range where Jim Day and Marty were.
That's what I was waiting for.
They just won't take any advice.
That's it. Full count, 3-2. Good day. Any day's a good day for golf, right?
It certainly is.
Full count, 3-2.
Especially when you're done by 11:10.
Amen. Inside to Joey. So Votto will take the free pass. Last night, walks were a very big part of the story. The Reds scored 3 in the first on a leadoff walk that Cozart started it. In fact, Aaron Blair, the starting pitcher, walked 4. All 4 of the men he walked scored. In fact, on the night, there were 8 walks issued by the Braves. 2 of them were intentional, but of the 8, 5 of them scored. And that left the Reds with a smiling scoreboard when the night was concluded, 9-8. So here's Brandon at 258. 6 homers, 27 knocked in. 0 for 4 last night. Fouled off for strike 1. That's Laz Diaz behind the plate. Marvin Hudson is your first base umpire. The crew chief is Jim Joyce. And Adam Hamari is your third base umpire for game 2 of this 4-game set. Night game tomorrow, Reds live at 6:30. And then a scheduled noon start on Thursday, Reds live at 11:30 Thursday.
You're going to see that a lot with Teheran, meaning swings and misses on fastballs that our radar gun is going to register anywhere from 89 to 91 miles an hour. So by that measurement, not overpowering, but it's got a lot of latent movement on it. He hides the ball well. He's sneaky fast, and he makes a 90-mile-an-hour fastball effectively a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
0-2, short lead for Votto at first. Setting up down and away is Flowers from the stretch. Teheran. Slap foul and out of play. The good news for Julio is that he's only given up 8 hits in his last 2 games. The bad news is 5 of those have been home runs.
Well, in his last game when he pitched 8 innings against the Padres, only walked 1, struck out 8. The 2 runs came on solo shots from Will Myers. No one else in that Padre lineup could do anything against him. Try
it again, 0-2. way high. By the way, in case you missed it on Reds Live today, the Reds recall from AAA Louisville J.J. Hoover and infielder outfielder Jose Peraza, an option to Louisville. Daniel Wright, Jordan Pacheco, who hasn't played since the end of May, some shoulder tendonitis, has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. Phillips spoils another pretty good pitch, and it stays 1-2. The Braves, by the way, before the game made a move today too. They optioned right-handed pitcher Ryan Weber, who pitched last night, back to Gwinnett, their AAA club, and recall left-handed pitcher Dario Alvarez from Gwinnett. So these are two teams that have had a shuttle going back and forth. Easier for the Reds, of course, and the Braves, because their two AAA clubs are relatively close. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball misses, 2-2. If you've been to Atlanta, as Jay Bruce awaits on deck, over the years, Turner Field, and then of course before that Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, at one point they would usually draw over 3 million in the heyday of Bobby Cox's run, 14 straight divisional titles. Here's the 2-2. Slap foul again. Great at bat by Phillips. Teheran keeps rifling strikes, and Phillips keeps fouling them off.
Yeah, the crowd here tonight, though, is a little more reminiscent of what you used to see back in the 80s, when they would have to stop people on the street and pay them to come into the ballpark.
13,000 last night, and same paid amount will probably be listed tonight, but far fewer than that in the ballpark right now as we start. Not the frenetic noise and energy that you always found here during the Bobby Cox era. They're hopeful of rebuilding as they head to their new ballpark about 20 miles north of here. It'll start next year. Here's the 2-2 again. Hit hard right past the third baseman. Garcia into left. A base hit. Votto will stop at second. The field was completely covered during the rain, so the infield is dry. The outfield, while it drains very well, that grass is wet, so any throws to the plate after ground balls that head out there may be affected by a wet ball. Good swing by Phillips.
You know, I just think that was a great at bat by Brandon Phillips, because he just waited him out. He spoiled some really good fastballs, fouling them off to the side. Teheran finally tries to throw a slider in there, and he hangs it up a little bit, and Phillips lays the wood to it. Just an excellent at bat.
Fouled off 2 sliders and 2 fastballs in an 8-pitch at bat, and the Reds have 2 on, 1 out. And here's Jay Bruce at 272, 14 homers, 46 knocked in now. Takes a little off out in front is the Reds right fielder. Picked up his career high 6th triple yesterday. That leads not only the National League, but now the major leagues. On the corner, that's a strike. 0-2. You look at this Braves rotation and the Reds rotation, Chris, there are some similarities beginning with age. They are 2 of the 5 youngest rotations in all of baseball, so there's a lot of learning to be done.
Well, not really much more for Teheran, because what he is at age 25, you expect him to stay at that plateau, the one that he set for himself in 2014 as an all-star. But you're right. I think the other guys in the rotation, even though they're as young or younger than Teheran, they've got a lot more learning to do. This young man came to the big leagues in a hurry early on. This is start number 114 in his major league career already.
He faced the Reds last year, was a little over a year ago in May of last year, beat them 5-0, 6 innings and 3 hits of baseball against Cincinnati. Short lead for Votto off second. This one hit pretty good, going back in right field. Markakis will just see it go. That's gonna be gone. Jay Bruce, home run number 15. He continues a torrid start to this 2016 season. The Reds put a 3 spot on the board yesterday and do it again today. 3-0. 49 runs batted in for the Reds right fielder now. He laid into this one, Chris.
Well, you know, another really good at bat where Tehran got ahead, no balls and 2 strikes, and he throws a little slider that's very flat. And that could have even been a changeup. It just didn't change planes very much. It went right down and into the wheelhouse of Jay Bruce, and oh, he is dropping the hammer more and more.
So the Beaumont bomber delivers, and the Reds lead at 3-0. A walk, a single, and a homer. And here's Eugenio Suarez with 13 homers of his own.
Interesting, really, George. You know, you see Jay Bruce hit a home run like that. We always notice the scouts that are here before the game.
Yeah.
There are some scouts here that you wouldn't normally see following the Reds this time of year. One from the Chicago White Sox, which is kind of that's one of those that kind of sticks out on you because, you know, there's no advanced scouting being done. So the Reds aren't going to play them at any time any soon. And, you know, that scout is kind of out of his territory coming way down here. So
another from the Orioles, another from the Yankees.
Yeah, you're right. And the Giants. The Giants might be more of an advanced scouting situation, but they're also looking for some outfielders.
Suarez tries to hold on it. He does.
And it's been mentioned a lot that you know, the Giants are looking for some outfield help. There's some rumor about Ryan Braun being on their list. The White Sox the same way. They've made a lot of changes on their roster in the last 10 days, and they're looking for some bats.
Miss it inside, 2-2.
And it was no secret that the Reds were trying to trade Jay Bruce over the winter. Weren't able to get a deal done, but I imagine that talk will resume hot and heavy here as we get closer to the trading deadline.
2 balls, 2 strikes. These are 2 teams that are in a rebuilding mode. There's a slider, swing and a miss. That's a strikeout number 1. And there's 2 away. Here comes Kyle Waldrop. So when you're in a rebuilding mode, Chris, I guess you get to this point heading to the July 1st trading deadline that anybody, you know, look at Jim Johnson in the bullpen for Atlanta too. You know, a guy who could help a bullpen that's in need. I mean, Kelly Johnson just traded this past week to the Mets when they needed help. So both teams certainly on the trade list of many of those clubs that are looking for something.
Well, the first thing you do when you're rebuilding is you try to clean the canvas a little bit, and the Reds partially did that last year. Mid-season, they traded away Johnny Cueto and Mike Leake. In the offseason, they waited before they traded Aroldis Chapman and Todd Frazier. So I'm not so sure those that are left that they want to move, you're going to see a whole lot of waiting going on.
There's Kyle Waldrop. Picked up his first hit earlier this week. Picked up his first run batted in last night. Comes in at an even 500. Not bad. 2 away here in the first. 3-run homer from Bruce has given the Reds an early lead. 3 hopper down to second. Bobbled, and there'll be no play. Jace Peterson will be charged with the miscue. That's his 9th error of the season.
Well, that's the other part of the thing for the Braves. You know, they've got kind of the double whammy in as much as, you know, they don't score a lot of runs and they don't play great defense. And this is just a routine ground ball that gets away from Peterson.
Well, when you let a 3-hopper become a 4-hopper, sometimes that 4th hop is what kills you, and that's what happened to Peterson. So the Reds still alive here in the first, and here comes Tyler Holt. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Duran will usually give you somewhere around 100 pitches. That's where they try to keep him. No more than 110, but already 31 here in the first inning. In most of his starts, you can book him for 6 or 7 innings. Durable right-hander. No balls, 2 strikes. And ironically, he's been ahead of most hitters in this first inning. Just unable to put him away. A walk to Votto, single by Phillips, and a homer by Bruce. He gets 2 strikeouts in the inning, but more importantly, the Reds get 3 runs. Jay Bruce's 15th, the fuel for this first inning 3 spot for the Reds. Bomber delivers, heading back out to right field, and here we go to the bottom of 1. Let's check the starting lineup for the manager of the Atlanta Braves, who took over for Freddie Gonzalez, who was relieved of his duties last month. Brian Snitker, 40-year veteran of the Brave system. He'll send out Malik Smith, who will lead it off. Behind him will be Chase Darno, who's had a great first half, hitting over 300. He leads the club in hitting. Freddie Freeman, who homered and had 3 hits last night. Francoeur back in the lineup. Markakis in right. Garcia at third. He homered last night. Flowers, Peterson, and Tehran. That's the Atlanta Braves batting order for Brian Snitker. And here's the Reds' competitive lefty, Brandon Finnegan.
He's got to feel pretty good about himself right now, taking them out in the bottom of the first inning with a 3-0 lead. Coming off one of his finest starts of the year, that against the St. Louis Cardinals last time out. 7 innings of 2-run baseball.
And you talk about all the time, Chris, you get a 3 spot or a 2 spot or whatever put on the board, you want to shut down the next inning. Last night the Reds got a 3-run lead. The end result was the Braves came right back to tie it at 3. They got another 3-run lead at 6-3, and the Braves came right back the next inning and tied it again.
The mindset you have to have, especially here against the Braves, who do not have a lot of deep threats, is pour strikes into the zone. Every pitch you throw should either be a strike or look like a strike when it comes out of your hand.
3-0. And now what you want to do to the speedy center fielder. Malik Smith stole a couple yesterday. He comes in with 11 stolen bases. He leads rookies in the National League with that category. And this guy he's no flash in the pan. He stole over 200 stolen bases in over 300 games in the minor league. So he's been a burner for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think the 3-0 lead is going to keep them from going to the running game. It's not like they're 7 runs down. He's got a big lead over there.
Not going this time, and that's wide. So it's 4 straight wide ones, and that'll be the red alert for Tucker Barnhart. He'll go out and try to settle him down a little bit and get the train track wheels back on the track. Here's a guy who's been a great addition to this club. A backup from the minor league, Chase Darno, has been hitting better than he has throughout his career. Outstanding contribution offensively. He starts at short today. The 45th at bat of the season for Darno. That's a strike. We
heard before the game that Chase Darno has a rock band, and then he recently played up in Bonnaroo, and Jim Day is going to be all over that story and tell us all about it. If not tonight, then certainly tomorrow.
1 ball, 1 strike. That's a bouncer. Can they turn it into 2? They'll get 1 out. Still got a tag play at second, and not in time. Good job by Smith, and good job by Phillips. He tried to get the tag. When he couldn't do it, Phillips got the out that he wanted, but Smith, with his speed, still able to get to second. Good job on both players' part.
Well, it was a good effort on both plays, and especially on that on the part of Smith right here. Brandon Phillips is thinking, all right, I'm going to chase him back far enough. And Smith actually falls down. When he gets back up again, he's able to get to the bag. I would much rather have, you know, Chase Darno at first base with 1 out than Malak Smith at second base with 1 out. So favor the Braves at the end ultimately on that play.
So good speed at second in scoring position, and here's Freddie Freeman. There's a strike. Freeman last night, a single, a double, and a homer in 5 plate appearances. The homer his 10th of the year, and when we talked about it coming into the series, this is a Brave team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs. They have 27 compared to the Reds now 78 after the one by Bruce today. In fact, Freeman's 10 home runs represents about 40% of all the home runs that the club has hit. .21 runs batted in to go along with those 10 round trippers. 0-2 to Freeman, lefty lefty here.
You know, Freeman is one of those rare left-handed hitters that actually hits left-handers just about as well this year, actually even better than right-handers. Not necessarily for the power, but for the batting average.
Fouled off at the plate. Usually this guy, I mean, every year it seems like, just like we talk about Joey Votto, he's in the top 5 in the league with hitting with runners in scoring position. In fact, over his career, he averages over 300. This year, he's struggled in these situations, hitting under 200. Unfamiliar territory. He's got great speed out there in Smith now.
When a team stinks, it can bring you down.
Yeah. A wise manager once said that, right? Hanging in there is Freddie. He fouls it off.
You know, and you also have to remember that Freeman is already a 2-time All-Star. He made the All-Star team in 2013 and 14. He was 23 and 24 years old this year, so he's only 26. So any rebuilding that the Braves are doing, I mean, he is right in the center of it.
And he's under contract till 2021. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the dirt, good block by Barnhart. Smith had a vision of going to third, but Barnhart smothered that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Kind of reminds me of some of the at-bats that the Reds put on Julio Teheran at the top of the inning, where Teheran got ahead of them 0-2, and then they fouled off a few. They took some pitches, and next thing you know, it's a payoff pitch coming.
Deep in the box is Freeman. 2 balls, 2 strikes. From the third base side of the rubber is Finnegan. And he falls trying to turn and make the throw to second. Because, you know, you've been there. When you get a rainy day, sometimes that rubber is wet when you go to make that move.
Well, you know, it looks like his foot just went out from underneath him. And Jim Joyce, right on the call, called him safe, and he was right about it. No need for a review. There's no balk, of course, when you don't throw the second. That's the one base you can fake a throw to.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Just missing down and in, and we'll go full 3-2. Jeff Francoeur on deck.
You do.
Just like Brandon Phillips, who stretched an 8-pitch at bat till he got a single. Francoeur now will get Freeman will get the 9th pitch of this at bat, and he's fouled off some pretty good pitches. Got him. Fastball threading the needle on the outside corner, and that's strikeout number 1, out number 2. Here's your 4 defensive alignment for the Reds. 51 errors on the year. Kyle Waldrop gets the start in left. Holt in center. Bruce in right. You know about Billy Hamilton still on the concussion protocol, but looking better every day. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips, Votto across the infield, and Barnhart behind the plate. There's Kyle, a good week in the majors. His first hit, his first RBI, and getting a start in left field. Here's Francoeur at 287, couple of homers, 17 knocked in. He's one of those guys that's been brought here to help these young players make the transition to the major leagues, and he's one guy that doesn't need a scouting report on Brandon Finnegan or John Lamb, because he was in the Kansas City organization, and he raves about both of these Reds pitchers who are in this rotation for Cincinnati. He liked them and their spunk and their fire when he got to know them in Kansas City. The one thing he did say was, he told Lamb yesterday, get a haircut.
I think that Jeff Francoeur said what a lot of people are thinking.
That's right. He was all over him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Big swing, and Chris, that's been the calling card of Jeff Francoeur since he first came up.
Always has been. I mean, when he first came up, I mean, he was hitting anything that was anywhere close to the strike zone. He was nearly impossible to walk. In fact, I'm not sure, you have to look it up, but I mean, he went many games before he ever received his first base home balls.
1 and 2. High in the air to right. It's going to stay in the park. Bruce is under it. So no harm with the leadoff walk. Malik Smith gets stranded. The Reds 3 spot for Finnegan, lead at 3-0. Brave starter on the current roster. We've talked about Julio Teheran, 619 strikeouts in 6 years. And Matt Whistler, one of the fine young arms, 127 strikeouts in 2 seasons. In fact, if you talk to Tommy Glavine, who's at the ballpark today, he's the guy that he really looks at to be a special product. Whistler we're talking about. That's our Quicken Loans Rocket Arms stat of the night. There's number 47 in the middle. How smart are we, Chris? On the wall in left center field is the number 48, and we have the countdown just like we had the countdown at the old ballpark in Cincinnati. Every day somebody pulls down another number. Here's Barnhart at the plate. It is a fair ball, and they'll throw him out first out of the second, and that'll bring up Brandon Finnegan. So when you saw Tom Glavine walk into the ballpark, you figured he's number 47. You know why he was here, right? He'll take the number down tomorrow. 48 home games remaining. Joe Simpson to your left, and Chip Carey, of course. And he's the one that told us about the Darno band. He's always up on that kind of stuff, isn't he?
It's a great story. How his mother made them sing opera songs on their way to baseball practice. Jim Day will be on it. It's a great story to hear.
Did Dan and Catherine make you do that?
No. They recognized no talent when they heard it.
You're not the Lone Ranger. There's Finnegan. Couple of sacrifice bunts. He's helped himself with the bat. His first career appearance on the mound or at the plate against the Braves. In at 185 with those 2 runs batted in. Now we talk about the number 48 on that wall. And Chris, when we come here, 2 of our favorite guys are in the clubhouse. We're lucky to have Rick Stowe, Mark Stowe, and the whole Stowe family in Cincinnati here. John Holland has been with the Braves now for 48 years. He and Freddie Stone man the clubhouse. They ought to let him take down the number 48.
I think they will probably take down a number, and maybe they already have somewhere
later
along
on.
the way, but
later on they'll take down the 48. They've got a fan that'll come in and do that today. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bounce back through the middle. There's Peterson. He'll make the play. 2 away. Hey, follow Cincinnati Reds baseball live with the MLB.com at bat. The app is there for you day in and day out. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and a whole lot more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball, on your phone and on your tablet. There's Zach, second at bat, flied out to right in the first inning. Well, after a 33 pitch first inning, Teheran is trying to settle down here in the second.
kind of the same thing that happened to the Braves starter last night on this ground ball by Brandon Finnegan. I thought for a moment that maybe Teheran threw his glove at the batted ball. Now, if you don't touch the batted ball, there's no infraction. If you do touch it with a glove, they call it detached equipment, the runner gets third base. It's a 3-base penalty.
If it's done deliberately.
If it's deemed to be, detached equipment thrown at the ball. Sure.
1 ball, 1 strike.
I mean, if you're diving after a ball and the glove comes off, that's what you're saying is the exception there. Or if a catcher scoops the ball with his face mask instead of his glove, same thing.
That's a extra tech talk and no charge, right?
That's the most severe penalty other than an ejection in baseball when you get awarded 3 bases.
Fouled off by Zach, 1-2. How many signs can he have? He went through them 3 times, and Flowers will go out and talk to him.
And he did this in the first inning. He got ahead of just about every hitter up there, including Joey Votto, who he walked, and Brandon Phillips, who had a base hit, and Jay Bruce, that hit the 3-run home run. So he wants to make sure now that he doesn't end up doing the same thing he did in the first inning, which is hang some slider and get the whole thing going backwards on him.
Tyler Flowers heads back. No signs needed now. They know what they want to throw at 1 and 2. And right spot. Good pitch. Cozart over 2. It's a 1-2-3 for Tehran. Markakis up and we return. On the historic Oakmont Country Club for the 116th U.S. Open Championship. Live coverage begins Thursday on FS1, continues through the final round Sunday on Fox, or you can watch it all live on Fox Sports Go. You missed qualifying, Chris, but you will get to watch the U.S. Open. I gave you 24 hours. How do you handicap it?
You know what? I saw a little special on TV today, George. A little film clip where somebody just dropped the ball right at their feet and the ball disappeared in the rough. You couldn't see it even with the camera straight over it. So maybe that's not the kind of tournament that I'd like to qualify for anyway, because I have a way of finding that rough grass. It is going to be really exciting and fun to watch. If you like to see professional golfers struggle, this is the weekend you want to turn on your TV.
One strike to Markakis, 239, a homer, 34 knocked in. I mean, the U.S. Open always has tough rough, but Oakmont, and with all the rain they've had in Pennsylvania in the early part of this year, it's not going to be easy sledding. Bounced off the body of Finnegan, and no play will be made. Almost got a glove on it. When he didn't, Markakis will beat it to first. So that's the first hit for the Orioles. Leadoff batter on in the second.
A little slider. Markakis is just trying to hit it right back up the middle, and you know, it looks on TV, maybe from the comfort of your couch in your living room, that that's an easy play. It went right back to him. It even bounced up waist high, but you don't realize how close you are to home plate. By the time that ball is delivered, you're off balance. The hitter hits it right back at you, and your first instinct is get your body out of the way. Your second instinct is to put a glove on it.
Here's Garcia, who homered last night. High in the air to center. Holt there to get it. Markakis goes halfway, then retreats to first.
It's a good pitch right there. Looked like it was coming down the center of the plate. Last second, it kind of darted away from Garcia, and he got it on the end of the bat.
Here's Flowers. His average down in the low 200s, 237, 3 homers, 12 knocked in, but of late 7 of his last 12 hits have been for extra bases, including the 3 home runs. They've come in a bunch here at the end of May and the beginning of June. Reds played against Flowers last year, but he was wearing a Chicago White Sox uniform. Now 30 years of age, Atlanta product, Georgia product, and back home.
Yeah, he was originally drafted by the Braves. He was traded to the White Sox in a Boone Logan deal in 2008. And then when he became a free agent after the season last year, he came back home. He's always been more catcher than hitter. Lifetime batting average in the low 220s.
2 balls, no strikes. There aren't many Johnny benches. If you were the manager, would you rather have a more catcher than hitter behind the plate?
Mike Piazza didn't do too bad, I guess, behind the plate. I mean, yeah, Johnny benches don't come along very often. If I was the general manager, I would be converting more players in the minor leagues to catcher than they're doing right now.
But to run your pitching staff, what's more important?
Well, you want somebody who can run your pitching staff, and if they can hit, it's icing on the cake. I mean, look how Yadier Molina has led that Cardinal team for such a long time. David Ross with the Cubs has been primarily a catch first kind of receiver, and he's had a great major league career.
Hey, get down to the first base coach's box. Eddie Perez down there. I mean, you talk to Tom Glavine, who's in the booth next to us, or Bobby Cox, or Maddox, or Smoltz. I mean, they swore by that guy behind the plate.
Personal catcher Greg Maddox for a long time. There's some job security in that.
Javi Lopez got the hits. He picked up a lot of wins behind the plate. 3-2. Another good delivery. Swing and a miss by Flowers. 2 away, 1 on, and there's Jace Peterson. Tonight's IGS bringing the Energies numbers. Brandon Finnegan, his last 4 starts, Chris, beginning the 3rd week of May against the Dodgers. Boy, you were there. That was a special start against the Dodgers. He lost the game 1-0, but since then he's put up some pretty good numbers.
Well, he walked four batters in that game, so overall the numbers look good, but I really liked the way he pitched his last time out, where he walked only 1 against the Cardinals. I think you're seeing Finnegan get a little bit better every time out, and the more he concentrates on actually spotting his fastball, commanding the fastball, the better he's going to be. You know, up until this point in his life, at 23 years old, he's never had to spot the ball. All he's had to do is rear back and throw it by him.
Peterson slaps it foul and out of play down the left field line.
It's kind of interesting because, you know, when the Reds acquired Brandon Finnegan along with Cody Reed and John Lamb, was Finnegan the one that they thought, well, he's probably most suited for the bullpen. Reds need some bullpen help. He was in the bullpen with Kansas City on their World Championship team, and you figure that's probably where he's going to end up. But he has made a statement that he wants to be a starter, and he's proving it with the way he's throwing the ball.
And the Reds are giving him the chance. I mean, he never felt he had the chance in Kansas City to show that he could be a starter. They needed him in the bullpen his rookie year, and that's where they used him. And there were no opportunities for him to start. Here he's getting the opportunity. 1 ball, 1 strike. And as you like to say, especially for these young pitchers this year with the Reds, this is your year of opportunity.
Well, it is, but for Brandon Finnegan, it's more of a year of maturity, where you learn a little bit about the league, you learn a little bit about yourself, what pitches work, the routine that you have to have if you're going to be a starter in the major leagues all year long. It's a very important year for Brandon. And I think as the season plays out, we're going to see more and more young pitching coming up out of the minor leagues. The Reds have to make a decision about who their starter is going to be on Saturday. Right now it's to be determined when the Reds are playing against the Houston Astros. We may see somebody coming up out of the minor leagues for that start.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Houston. Finnegan will go in that final game in Houston. That's up high, and it's a 3-1 pitch wide of the zone. That's a walk. So there's 2 on, 2 outs, and here comes the pitcher Teheran, who's in at 130. By the way, in that Houston series, John Lamb will go against Lance McCullers. That's Friday. Reds live at 6:30. The game will follow at 7. To be determined Saturday against Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel set the American League on fire last year, only 3-9 this year. And then Sunday it's Finnegan against Fiers, the righty Mike Fiers. 3 different start times, 7, 4, and 2. Off day in Irving, Texas, and the Reds take on Mike Scioscia's ball club after that. .130 on the year, 153 for the career for Teheran. Here's a 1-1. Broken bat down to second. Phillips will gobble it up, and that'll take care of the inning. A walk and a hit, nothing to show for it. Reds still holding on to a 3-0 lead. Votto up when we return.
Braves at Turner Field, and they'll leave behind the site of the '96 Olympic Games and all the memories that come with it. This is the actual cauldron from the games, and who could ever forget when Muhammad Ali, the late great Muhammad Ali, lit the cauldron to start the games. To this day, one of the most iconic moments in all of sports history.
A moment that folks all over the world will remember, part of the reinvention, reincarnation of the man who called himself the greatest. Muhammad Ali, remembered so vividly for the past week. And those of you that haven't been to the Muhammad Ali Museum in Louisville, take some time to go there. It's not about really as much about Muhammad Ali as it is about the civil rights movement. Worth a visit. Here's Joey, worth watching at the plate. 341 for the month of June. Walked his first time up. On base when Bruce homered. Strike one from the Atlanta righty. Votto, Phillips, Bruce due up. They were the 3 that combined to produce the 3 runs in the first inning. Votto walked, Phillips singled, and an 8-pitch at bat, and then Bruce drilled one into the seats in right for his 15th home run. Looped into left. coming in is Francoeur. Got it. He's always been able to do that, Chris. He's got one of the best arms in baseball. Nobody has more assists from the outfield during his career than he does.
Votto, you know, when he swings the bat like this, he has a tendency to freeze the outfielders because the last thing you want is that ball going over your head. Francoeur got kind of a slow start because of that, but he was able to recover.
Probably most comfortable in right field, but with Markakis over there, he's played all three outfield positions. Happy to be home. You know, was in Philadelphia last year, and talking to Pete McCannon, he had hoped that they'd re-sign him to kind of mentor some of the young outfielders. Here's a fly ball that'll hang up, and Markakis will close on it. Phillips singled to left first time up. That one hung up just long enough for Markakis to track it down. Hey, just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. And talking to Jeff Francoeur, just being able to be home, you know, and you know what it's like in the years when you were able to be close to home, be with your kids, and for Jeff, that's been a big boost and a big reason to be back in Atlanta. Here's Jay. The homer is 15th. Now the RBI total up to 49. That's wide 0-2. When Ali lit that cauldron, here's a look at the home run by Bruce, number 15. No doubt about it, as it left the bat, Markakis took 2 steps and just said goodbye. When Ali lit the cauldron at the Olympics in '96, this was the Olympic Stadium for track and field. Then they retrofitted it, and '97 the Braves moved in here, but it never really was their home, and I think there was always a look around the corner, and they'll get their new baseball stadium about 20 miles north of here beginning next year. 1, 2, 3 for Tehran.
To you by T-Mobile. The Reds' top 4 draft picks all signed and in the fold. Nick Senzel, Taylor Trammell, Chris Oakey, and Nick Hansen. And the Reds have signed 7 of their top 11 picks overall. These 4 gentlemen are going to be off to Billings. Rookie ball will be the first stop. And George and Chris, you guys have seen so many times where guys will wait and toil around and not sign right away. And it really becomes almost a wasted summer or a wasted year. These guys will hit the ground running, will be able to get acclimated quickly, and Brian Price just raved about having these guys sign so quickly and playing pro baseball right away here in June.
JD, you're right, Chris. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. So often they don't start till August sometimes, and you lose almost a whole year. So you're talking about almost a full year of development ahead of some other players who signed.
I couldn't agree more. And I think a lot of that, George, has to do with the new rules, the slotting rules that Major League Baseball has imposed, where if you're drafted in a certain round at a certain spot, you're going to make a certain amount of money in a signing bonus. So it takes some of the bargaining power away from a club and from an individual. So that's why it's easier to get these contracts done ahead of time. At least if you're not supposed to do it all ahead of time, but let's face it, there's a lot of talking ahead of the draft. So when a team does draft a prospect, they have a pretty good idea where they're going to sign him and what it's going to take to do so.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Malik Smith, and the Reds played that perfectly during their first round selections. They signed Senzel for a little bit less than what the slot was. They used that money later on to give some slotted players a little more money. That's foul down the third base line, and if you plan it right and play it right, the Reds, of course, and the Phillies had the most amount of money, and the Reds used it very wisely. And Trammell, of course, is another Georgia product, and this is a very fertile ground for signees, both college and pro. Here's a 2-2. Nubbed down to second. Phillips has it. And they keep the speedy Smith off the bases, 1 away, and here comes Chase Darno. And I guess you got to be happy, because when you add it up, 22 of the 40 players drafted, the first 40 players that the Reds picked, were pitchers, and you don't get better just by picking the best. You get better by picking numbers.
Well, yeah, you hopefully that there are some best ones in there, but you do need some numbers. And the Reds have been very heavy in pitching in the last few years, and right now it's the strength of their minor league organization. And in a draft in which the consensus was, and I really don't know how to judge a draft or not. I haven't seen any of these prospects for the most part, but they say that it wasn't loaded with a lot of position players. So if it's not loaded with position players, go after the pitching.
And as we always say, it takes years to really evaluate a draft. I mean, give on the positive side, when you look at numbers, give Chris Buckley credit. In 11 years, 38 of his draft picks have made it to the major leagues. Not all with the Reds. Some traded away. That pitch is inside. And if you can average 3 to 4 a year, and the next question is, do they stay in the major leagues? Not just make it to the majors. How many stay in the major leagues? And it takes you 5, 6, 7 years to put that number into a reality check.
Well, it may take 5 or 6, 7 years to get to the major leagues, and then if they stay there, you're looking at another 5 or 6 years. So sometimes you don't know how good your draft is for a decade.
Reds hoping that this next decade will be a positive one from a development standpoint. Not just who you draft, right, Chris? It's how you develop them.
It's both.
3-1. Darno bounced out first time up, and there's a walk. Third walk in 3 innings of work for Brandon Finnegan. Make Great American Ballpark your family day destination Sunday, June 26th. Catch all the Reds action, enjoy live mascot races, face painters games, and a whole lot more. Plus, thanks to Orville Redenbacher and Kroger, all kids 14 and younger will receive a Devin Mesoraco Fathead. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. And we sure wish the best to the Reds catcher Devin Mesoraco as he recovers for the 2nd year from a major surgery, shoulder surgery this year. And all indications are he's on the road to recovery, but you wait, hopefully by next spring he'll be raring to go, and the Reds will have a tremendous catching tandem if you have Barnhart and Mesoraco. Here's Freeman, who struck out first time up. That got him. So a hit batter and a walk put 2 on with 1 out here in the 3rd for Jeff Francoeur. The Reds, who lead the league in hit batsmen, hit their 2nd of the series. Francoeur, fly ball to right first time up. Reds double play depth middle of the infield. Phillips and Cozart. Tough to coax a ground ball off this guy's bat, predominantly a fly ball hitter.
And Finnegan is not really a ground ball pitcher. He gets about 40% ground ball outs compared to, you know, the rest being fly ball and ground and fly outs. But he has had 8 double plays turned behind him, so he's rolling up that ground ball when he's had to. Could use one right now.
Missing down and in, ball and a strike.
This is the part where Brandon Finnegan, you know, 23 years old. Next year he'll be better. Year after that he's going to be better than that. You know, because, you know, when you walk at the number 2 hitter, Chase Darno, it was more of a brain hiccup than anything else. It was a mental mistake rather than physical mistake.
Good spot right in on the hands, foul back, 1-2.
Because you can almost see the temperament of Brandon Finnegan change when all of a sudden, you know, with nobody out and he walks a runner, no problem, and then you got a couple of runners on. Now all of a sudden now you see him really rearing back. He's concentrating more, so he's able to flip that switch when he has to. The key is to get to a mode where you don't have to do it with runners on base. You're just doing it all the time.
Finnegan to the stretch, 2 on, 1 out. Nub down to short. Cozart will have to go to first. They'll get it out of it. Might have broke his bat as well. So 6-3 put out. The runners advanced to second and third, but now with 2 outs, here comes Markakis, who hit one back right at Finnegan, bounced it off his arm for a base hit. Nine years that guy played in Baltimore, one of the fan favorites before he left as a free agent. Now 32 years of age. Signed a 4-year deal 2 years ago. 2 on, 2 out. You always loved your mustache when you pitch. Would you be wearing a beard today?
Probably so. I mean, everybody else is.
Yep. Of course, when you pitched for the Reds back in those days,
It wasn't until Greg Vaughn came along that had that changed. It's really amazing that it lasted as long as it did.
You're right. You're right.
All Greg Vaughn had to do was threaten a grievance with the Players Association, and the rule went away.
Presto changeo. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And his was a nice, tight, little, very small goatee. I mean, you could hardly even see that he had it compared to some of the beards you see now hanging all the way down to a player's chest. They look like Civil War reenactment players.
Good way to get on Broadway, be a part of Hamilton. 2 balls, 1 strike. That's a bouncer back over second. Phillips backhand, off balance throw, got him. Good job, Brandon. 2 left stranded. Reds still lead it 3-0. And a reminder, today marks the United States Army's 241st birthday. USAA honors those who have served in the United States Army and all of our service members around the world. Tomorrow on an all-new Reds Weekly, a full recap of the Reds draft from this past weekend. Michael Lorenzen preparing to be an important piece of the Reds bullpen in the very near future, and after being a player in the Reds farm system, Julio Murillo is now contributing to the big league ball club. All that and more on all new Reds Weekly tomorrow night at 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Doug Flynn, Jeff Pecoro keep us all up to date. Hope you have a chance to see that one before Reds baseball here on Fox Sports Ohio. Here's a Eugenio, strikeout victim on a 3-2 pitch his first time up, leading it off in the fourth. Sure is great to see Doug Flynn around the ballpark again, isn't it, Chris?
Well, he adds so much. I mean, when he takes over the Reds fantasy camp down there in baseball heaven, has done that for many, many years, does a super job. That he's funny, he's knowledgeable. You can hear him on the radio a lot this year, and he does a super job. And now that they've got him on their Reds Weekly show, it's even more reason to watch that show. So, I like Dougie. I've never been invited to his golf tournament, but I still like him.
Well, you told me to bring that up so you could point that out.
I think it's too late. I mean, I don't even have to play. I just like a bag of that free stuff he gives away.
Don't we all? Boy, he and Olga, what a team. Two wonderful people, two tremendous individuals, and I mean, Dougie.
Well, Dougie's getting older. Olga looks the same as she did 30 years ago.
You're right. We all get older. She looks still the same, still great. But neither one of them change inside. They're both special. 2-2, breaking ball down and away. Suarez, full count as the leadoff batter here in the fourth. Waldrop on deck for the Reds, gets the start in left tonight. Slap foul and out of play. Another lengthy at bat by a Reds batter. This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat as we hit the 62 pitch mark here in the fourth. For Eugenio, a work in progress. There are times, Chris, where it all comes together. You know, with a little bit of a leg action, more difficult for him to get his timing down. But when he gets it and gets in a groove, he's got a poetry-like swing.
Well, he's got tremendous power, too. And you can see with the way he stands straight up, they're going to ring him up on that as he went. He's a guy that really likes to attack that low pitch. And sometimes just over a little bit anxious that time.
That's 5 strikeouts for Julio Teheran. Coming into today, 77 on the season and only 23 walks. So now 82 strikeouts on the season. Here's Waldrop. Reached on the error by the second baseman his first time up. Flowers sets up down and away. Finnegan today, and tomorrow it'll be Anthony DeSclafani against Bud Norris. We're read live at 6:30. That's a bouncer down to first. Freeman will shovel it to Teheran, and there's 2 away. By the way, on that Thursday game here in Atlanta, Dan Straley against Matt Whistler, it's a 12 o'clock game, but that's the game where we will not have Reds live before the game, so we'll hit the air at 12 o'clock with no Reds live before.
Well, don't look now, but Teheran is really getting it together. He's retired 9 straight. After that first inning in which the Reds struck for 3 runs on the 3-run blast by Jay Bruce, but So where he came out of the gate maybe not so sharp, he has really sharpened it up in the meantime.
Dumps a bunt down. Tehran almost slips on the grass, but gets it there just a half a step ahead of Holt. 1, 2, 3 for the Reds here in the fourth. Similarity to these two teams in our Elk and Elk storylines for tonight. Not only do they have a predominantly young pitching staff, 2 of the 5 youngest pitching staffs in all of baseball, they've also are on that list 2 of the 5 teams that have had the most player days on the disabled list. The Reds fans know about the Reds story with all the pitchers down. For Atlanta, it's been pitchers and position players too. Over 500 days lost. And it's amazing the Dodgers over 700 lost so far this year, Chris, and they're still in the thick of it.
That's what a deep payroll will do for you. You know, if you lose a guy on the disabled list, then you just replace him with somebody else that you go out and pay some money with. But when you're rebuilding and you're trying to watch your pennies and you're a smaller market ball club, you've got to be very careful, and you hope that your farm system is ready to produce, you know, big league players.
And last night after the game, a 9-8 win for the Reds. Brian Price, the Reds manager, couldn't just sit and celebrate and cherish the victory. He had to worry about a night where he had to use his bullpen heavily. He used 5 pitchers last night, so he was scrambling around with Pacheco having a sore shoulder. And today the Reds, in reaction to that, called up J.J. Hoover, and infield outfielder Jose Peraza is back. An option to Louisville pitcher Daniel Wright. Pacheco placed on the DL. So JJ's back and in the bullpen, ready to go tonight. Big swing by Garcia. Fly ball to center first time up. Here are those transactions, Chris, that the Reds announced today.
Well, Pacheco's going to go down to rehab down in Louisville, so he'll be down there for a little while. But it's good to see Peraza back. Hopefully he'll get some playing time. I don't think we saw him play enough in his previous visit. J.J. Hoover, hopefully whatever he needed to do to get back on track, he was able to do, because, you know, if you know J.J. as a person, you know how hard he works at it. He's just the kind of young man that you root for. So let's hope that he's got his stuff together on the mat, is able to get that slider working the way he should.
And Peraza, of course, this is like returning home for him, because he was a Brave, came through the Braves farm system, had friends in that other clubhouse, got to the Reds clubhouse late today, and is in uniform and ready to go. Peraza, a shortstop, second baseman, center fielder. There he is on the left and available tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Garcia. Slapped down the right field line and out of play. Garcia last night had the best offensive night other than Freeman. He was 2 for 4 and a homer. Double and a homer, and 3 runs knocked in on the night. This one lined towards the alley. Will Holt be able to cut it off? He will, and that'll hold the third baseman to a single. So a leadoff base hit here in the 4th for Garcia. That'll bring up Tyler Flowers. Struck out first time up. All told, Flowers spent 7 years with the White Sox and was their #1 catch and throw guy. They had other guys, including Brzezinski, from time to time as the offensive catcher. Steps out, long look down at Bo Porter, who has no signs to flash. Strike 1. There's Brzezinski.
Flowers worked the full count last time before he finally went down on strikes on a fastball. Finnegan way ahead right now.
Short lead for Garcia at first. Not going. Foul, swing and a miss, and he gets him for a strikeout. That's strikeout number 3 for Finnegan.
Kind of what I mean about Brandon Finnegan. I mean, you know, he seems to do this a lot where he's cruising along, and all of a sudden, you know, he gets a runner on base, and then all of a sudden stuff really tightens up a little bit. He's got a little extra zip on the fastball, a little more snap on the breaking ball, but it's almost like he gets a wake-up call when he goes into the stretch position.
There's the number 8 hitter. Peterson walked on a 3-2 pitch back in the 2nd. That breaking ball misses up and in for ball 1. Runner going. Barnhart's throw not going to be in time. He gets the hand in. And again, he got almost a 3-step break against Finnegan. Barnhart made it a lot closer than it looked like it was going to be.
Just probably a sneak attack right there. Finnegan really not paying a whole lot of attention to him. A good throw by Barnhart, but just too big of a jump.
So Garcia in scoring position for Peterson, and it's 2-0. Down the middle for a strike. That's a base hit to center. Here comes Holt charging. They'll hold the runner as Holt gets it in quickly, and it's cut off. That's the first hit for the Braves tonight with a runner in scoring position. They're 1 for 6, but it doesn't produce a run. Good job by Tyler Holt, who's playing in, and he unloaded it quickly.
Well, there's not a lot of power in this Braves lineup, so the outfielders can sneak in a little bit, and so on a base hit like that, when you're down by 3 runs, the last thing you want to do is run yourself into an out on a base pass trying to score the first run. So the Braves will sit back. Hope that Tehran can do something with the bat. The good news for Brandon Finnegan is you're down at the pitcher spot, and he's likely to just go ahead and bunt the runner from first to second.
Yeah, only 1 out, so the bunt a possibility here. Suarez in a step on the grass at third. The runner Peterson off first. To the stretch is Finnegan. Showing bunt, fouls it off.
The Braves can play this a number of different ways. They can play it as a straight sacrifice. Runner from first goes to second. They can play it as a a safety squeeze where if the bunt is good enough, then the runner from third base can decide to try to score on it, or they could do a regular suicide squeeze. And if it's executed properly, you get a run in, you move the runner to second base, and the out is made at first.
Brian Snitker, since taking over last month, has been much more aggressive with the running game and those plays. The runner holding at third, and now he'll try to come home and will score. A great job of base running by the runner at third, Garcia. Kind of reminds you, Chris, of the game in the World Series with the Mets in Kansas City, when they picked the pocket of the first baseman, and this time they're able to get the run home. Garcia went a third of the way down, and when the throw went to first, he came the rest of the way to score the first run for the Braves.
Well, that was the fourth option that I didn't get to, which is it's not really a safety squeeze. You're running on the play when the play goes to first base. Excellent job by the runner. Maybe not so much for Brandon Finnegan. It would have been maybe wise for him to check that runner at third first and then go to first base.
The difficulty is the third baseman will follow the runner towards the plate, so he's not going to get back to the bag, and you risk losing the out, and Finnegan took the out with a 3-0 lead.
Well, when you see the guy square, that's when the third baseman starts to charge, and that's why that runner can go as far down the line as that third baseman is. So he was a third away, as you said.
So it's strike one now with the runner out at second. Smith walked and bounced out in on the hands.
Interesting in this series, because last time we saw a very good defensive play on a bunt by the Reds. The swing play, or the wheel play, with the shortstop Zach Cozart running over to third base, and the Reds getting that force on a lead runner at third base. Tonight we've seen the opposite happen, where the Braves are executing, you know, a bunt play where it actually worked offensively, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it defensively when you put it down just perfectly.
0-2. I mean, the one thing that Brian Snitker knew when he came here was that this isn't Fulton County Stadium. It's not the old Braves teams. They're last in the league in home runs. Now, coming into tonight, the Reds now have 78. They have 27. There's a ground ball foul at the plate. So he knows he has to manufacture runs a little bit more. Another look at it, Chris.
Here's the play again. You see where the third baseman and the runner are. They're about the same spot right there, and that's why even if Finnegan turn around on him a little bit, you're not going to chase him. You can chase him back, maybe freeze him, but Teran runs pretty well, so he had a decision to make. When it comes out to be a very good bunt, a lot of options open up for the offense.
That's a fair ball. Happened to Bagel Votto, and there's your final out of the inning. But the Braves get a run. It's a 3-1 ball game. Sports Ohio being brought to you tonight by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on United States News Best Children's Hospitals. Speaking of the Olympics in 1996, there is Olympic Park downtown in downtown Atlanta. 3 runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left for the Reds, 1 3 and 1, 6 left on base for the Braves. As we go to the bottom of the order, Tucker Barnhart will lead it off in the top of the 5th inning. Finnegan to follow. Hard. Good job by Freeman to get a glove on it. And there's your example of one of those plays where it's beneficial to be a right-handed throwing first baseman, huh?
Well, hit hard by Tucker Barnhart, and Freeman's always been a pretty good glove man. Very agile for a big guy at first base, and makes a nice play on that one.
So Barnhart's 0 for 2, thrown out by the catcher first time, and here's Finnegan, who bounced to second first time. Well, since the first, when the Reds got a walk to Votto, a single by Phillips, and a homer by Bruce, since that time the Reds have had no base runners. So Tehran is settled down, and here in the 5th he's ahead 0-2. Grass cutter down to second. And there's your second out. 2 ground balls to second for Finnegan tonight, and here comes Cozart. Here's a reminder, you can help us celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 1976 World Series champion with the 76 replica ring ticket package for the Reds. For just $30, get your game ticket and an exclusive 76 World Series replica ring. Plus, arrive early for a special pre-game on-field ceremony featuring members of the Big Red Machine. Hurry, packages are limited. Visit reds.com/theme. Here's Zach. Fly to right, struck out 0 for 2. Lotto on deck for Cincinnati. Rip foul down the third base line past Billy Hatcher, who's in the third base coach's box. Whole bunch of Reds fans down around that dugout, huh, Chris? A lot of Reds fans here the last couple of nights.
Well, you're right. I know a couple of them. Bob Crotty from the Green Diamond has come down. Of course, he's got diamond seats at the Reds ballpark, Great American Ballpark. He brought Jeff Smith along. He's with a buddy of his, an old ex-P&G guy, and they're hooping up down here in Atlanta watching the Reds play. But there are a lot of people from Cincinnati who have moved down here to Atlanta. Had a great conversation with a couple of people yesterday, that young people that drove over from Huntsville, Alabama, to watch their old Redlegs play.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. One Reds fan down here with his family. They have completed seeing 28 of the 30 ballparks, and by the end of the summer they'll get to the other 2. That's pretty good. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled off and held onto by Flowers. Well, he's had some 8 and 9 pitch at bats. This was a 9-pitch inning for Tehran. 3-1 Reds. tomorrow with the Reds taking on the Braves here at Turner Field. Reds Live kicks off at 6:30, followed by the game coverage at 7. Swing into Summer on Fox Sports Ohio is presented by Miller Lite. Tomorrow will be Anthony DeSclafani going against Bud Norris. Good to have DeSclafani back, Chris, and his first step was an important step and a good step back here at the major league level.
Oh, you're not kidding. It's been a long time for DeSclafani. I know that he was very frustrated with how long it took him to get back on the mound, but boy, did he ever come back with looking like he's in midseason form. Reds could use a whole lot more of that.
Here's d'Arnaud as we go to the bottom of 5. d'Arnaud bounced to second and walked, followed by Freddie Freeman and Jeff Francoeur. Bounce back and forth. AAA to the major leagues, and has put up good offensive numbers here at the major league level. Over 300 on the season. Now 29 years of age. Reds have seen him with Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and most of the time as a fill-in player. Swing and a miss, a strikeout. That's 4 strikeouts for Finnegan.
Just good action on the fastball. Finnegan's got the kind of fastball that if he wants, he can pitch up in the zone, or they can get that little two-seamer working down in the zone. An explosive fastball, even though it only registers 91 to 94 on the radar gun, it's plenty fast enough.
Fly ball to left. Back goes Kyle Waldrop. Got it. 2 away. So Finnegan trying to duplicate what Teheran did in the top of the inning. Have a quick one. 2 away, and here comes Francoeur, 0 for 2. Fly ball out and a ground out. On the corner for strike 1. Markakis on deck. Job by Finnegan. He did Teheran one better. A 7-pitch inning for Finnegan. 1, 2, 3.
Turner Field, and now that this is an official game, they have done exactly what George Graham was talking about earlier, that being the countdown. 48 games remaining when we started tonight. Now that the game is in the books, peel it off. 47 home games remaining at Turner Field for the Braves before they move north, gentlemen.
JD, your thoughts coming here over the years? I know you and Jeff Pecoro have both come through here numerous times, and you'll always remember this as the Olympic Stadium, of course. And I think Chris and I have talked about, I think most of our memories really zero in on not Turner Field, but on old Fulton County as opposed to Turner Field. What are your thoughts here? What do you remember most?
Well, I tell you what, going out to shoot the segment we did with the Cauldron today, right out there where Fulton County Stadium was, and they've got the infield still in bricks, the outfield wall there, the 715 commemorating Hank Aaron's home run. I wasn't there, but I remember the most. That's 715, and the Braves are leaving their Fulton County Stadium history behind, and now Turner Field history, and it's been a good history for this club, and they are leaving it all and heading to another county.
1 ball, 1 strike. Tavato fouled off 1 and 2. Okay, now the important thing, you rate the food around all these ballparks. How do you rate the food here at Turner Field over the years?
Well, I got to tell you, probably not in my top 10. But you know, the press room used to be.
Yeah.
Not so much now, but for a while there, they were money.
Yeah, Chris, we remember back in the old days when all the scouts would hang around after a game. Yeah. You'd be around for 2 or 3 hours just talking baseball, and
that's because they had buckets of beer.
That's right. No longer at any of these ballparks. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Joey. High in the air to left. Going back is Frank Coeur, looking up at the wall. He's got room and will haul it in.
Well, that's the difference between this ballpark and Great American Ballpark. You know, the distance down the lines may be very similar. In the gaps, it's bigger here, but it just doesn't carry like it does back in Cincinnati. That ball has a chance to get out of the ballpark in Cincinnati. Here, it doesn't even get to the warning track.
So leadoff batter retired. Here's Brandon Phillips. Phillips singled and flied out 1 for 2. Next year, Turner Field will be the football field for Georgia State University, and they'll be playing baseball on where the old baseball field used to be, the old Fulton County baseball field. And of course, they kept Henry Aaron's home plate where the ball was caught. My old roommate from USC, Tom House, was the one that caught it in the bullpen, and he always says, you know, people say, do you mind talking about it? He says, no, that's the one thing people always remember me for.
He played 12 years in the major leagues. The only thing they remember him for is catching a ball in the bullpen.
Hit deep to center. Back is Smith at the wall. It is gone.
No, he caught
Did
it.
he catch it? He got it. He picked it off the top of the wall. How about Smith? Jim Joyce went way out, had to look twice and said, show it to me, and he showed it to him.
Teron thought that he may have given one up right out the front door, and it takes a big man. Look at reaction. It's like, wow, that ball is crushed. But Malak Smith goes back right against the fence near that yellow line, and he pulls it back. Saves extra bases there.
Teron says, thank you very much. Great job by the speedy center fielder. Yeah, we talked about it last night. I mean, this is his home ballpark. He enjoys coming back here so much. His mom, his dad, his sister are all here at the ballpark for these 4 games. Hard to believe he's never homered here. And he almost had one there.
Now it turns into an out, and that is now 15 in a row for the Braves pitcher.
Brings back a story, Chris, as Jim Joyce went out there and looked at Smith and wanted to see the ball. There's a fly ball to left. Back is Frank Coeur at the wall. He'll haul this in. We'll talk about it later. So 3 fly ball out, 16 straight retired. The Reds are holding on to a 3-1 lead. Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is being brought to you by USAA Insurance, banking and investments tailored for the military community. Now, it's been a pitcher's duel since the first. Brandon Phillips was part of the first inning rally for the Reds. Votto walked, Phillips singled, and Jay Bruce hit a 3-run homer to give the Reds a 3-0 lead. Brandon Finnegan has allowed only 1 run, a couple of base hits, and a sacrifice that produced a run for Atlanta back in the 4th inning. So Finnegan back to work here in the 7th. In the bottom of 6, rather, as Markakis will lead it off. Look out. Markakis singled off Finnegan back in the 2nd, bounced to 2nd in the 3rd. Look out.
A little breaking ball that I think he slipped on the mound. The ball slipped out of his hand, and no bad intent meant by Finnegan at all on that. That last inning that he had only 7 pitches, it really helped him keep the pitch count down. And he ought to be able to build on that and just come right after him here.
Two balls, no strikes. There's a strike. If you joined us late, we had about 4 hours of rain today and a misty night here at Turner Field. Grass a little wet, the dirt a little wet. In fact, Finnegan earlier in the game, like he was on ice skates as he tried to wield and throw to 2nd, slipped, fell down. And by the time the inning ended and he headed to the dugout, they were giving him all kinds of grief, Chris. You've been there, right?
Well, yeah, you can do that as a young guy. You do it as an old person like us, George, and you blow out an ACL.
That's right. Of course, I mean, Finnegan was an outfielder in high school. He went to TCU, outstanding competitor there. And by the way, congratulations to his alma mater. They make it back to Omaha. Saturday it'll be Oklahoma State against UCSB, Miami against Arizona on Saturday, Sunday Texas Tech against TCU, and Florida won last night, so they'll play Coastal Carolina on Sunday. This one hit deep to right. Back is Bruce at the wall. Got it. Markakis gave it a ride, but Bruce catches up with it about 2 steps from the wall.
Well, you pitch to the dimensions of the ballpark in which the game's being played, and that's what happens right here. A little breaking ball that just kind of hangs up there. Markakis thinks he's got one, but Bruce goes back as well as anybody and just hauls it in, no problem. That's not an easy catch. He makes it look easy.
So 1 away. Here comes Garcia. He flied to center, then singled to center, stole a base, and eventually scored. And another hit. He had 2 hits last night, 2 more hits tonight. He's 2 for 3. So 1 out, 1 on here in the 6th.
Now another breaking ball way up in the zone. Right now it looks like Finnegan just, that's a changeup that he just, well, he's not getting down around the knees.
Here's Tyler Flowers 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Goes Art Phillips, double play depth, middle of the infield. I think most outfielders around the National League will be glad to say goodbye to Turner Field from when they first opened the stadium here, Chris. Outfielders had trouble with these lights. They're kind of a different configuration, and sometimes they've reset them a number of times so they're not as glaring as they used to be, but they created a whole lot of problems early.
I think a lot of hitters came in here and had problems too, George. Mainly because they're facing Smoltz, Gladys, Maddox, and Glavine. I don't think it was the lights. I think it was lights out. Oh, what a great pitch.
Half swing, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tommy Glavine here today. Kevin Brown here yesterday with Ryan Klesko.
That's what I'm talking about with the changeup. When he stays on top of that, the ball really has great depth. It goes straight down. He sells it as a fastball. You throw a few of those a game and you think, man, that guy's got some potential to be able to throw that pitch after pitch. And he does it again.
3 straight strikeouts of Flowers by Finnegan. 2 away. And here comes Peterson.
They've just been peppering that outside corner on Tyler Flowers and wearing him out.
Now you can evaluate velocity, you can evaluate pitches, but you can't evaluate heart and intensity. And that's why you like more and more what you see from this Reds lefty. A walk and a base hit for Jace Peterson, up for the 3rd time. Zips it in under his arm. 2-0. Up high again. So a lengthy 2nd and a lengthy 4th, and now we're at the 100 pitch mark here in the 6th for Brandon Finnegan. Three ball counts will catch up to you, won't they?
Well, they will at the end of the ball game, and it's not even near the end of the game. What you're thinking, though, is if you're Brian Price, why am I looking up and seeing my talented left-hander throwing over 100 pitches through the first 6 innings?
Waldrop there, he'll haul it in. Base hit, nothing to show for it. Reds going back to work in the 7th. They lead it 3-1. For the Reds, everything came in the first. It was a walk to Votto, a Phillips single, and Jay Bruce's 15th home run. 3-0 Cincinnati had the lead. In the meantime, Brandon Finnegan has been once again giving you 6 strong innings of work. Only 1-run baseball, a run, 4 hits, and an error for this Atlanta team. That's your Honda game summary. Chris, your report card on the Reds lefty tonight.
Well, the scoreboard gives you the report card bottom line, and right now he's up by 2. That 3-run first inning is all the Reds needed behind Finnegan so far. So he's done a great job. At some point, Brian Price is going to have to turn over to the bullpen. And nicely relaxed on the bench, talking to Homer Bailey right there. Good to see Homer hanging around the ball club. That means he's getting closer and closer to getting back on the mound. We're hard to believe that Homer Bailey's the elder statesman of all the pitchers on this ball club.
Boy, he's come a long way as a pitcher and maturing more and more year in and year out in his role when he comes back into the rotation. Now as the elder statesman. Here's Suarez. Eugenio struck out 0 for 2.
Yeah, Teheran has got his number tonight, but just by teasing him with that breaking stuff blown away.
So much of that, when you have a leg kick, it's such a delicate part of a swing, and when it's working, it works to perfection. If not, as a pitcher, you can exploit it, can't you?
Well, yeah, I think it's more of the batter exploiting it on himself. And the key for a guy with a leg kick like that, and any kind of stride, is make sure you get your foot down in time. That's why a lot of hitters that have no strides at all seem like they're more in sync, because they don't have a lot of moving parts.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Flowers has struck out 3 times for Atlanta tonight. Suarez has struck out 3 times for the Reds. 1 away in the 7th. Hey, Reds fans, don't forget, if you can't catch the games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app. Take Fox Sports Ohio and Reds baseball with you wherever you go. There's Waldrop, reached on an arrow, bounced to first. Skies this one to the left side. It'll be in the seats behind the Reds dugout. How about you, Chris? What are your most vivid memories of this ballpark?
This ballpark, George, I think when we first came in here after it was just used for the Olympics, it was a majestic place. It had the biggest video board of any ballpark in the major leagues, and they used it very well here. It was a fun place. It was packed. I just would always come in here looking forward to watching Greg Maddux pitch, Tommy Glavine pitch, Smoltz pitch, Kent Mercker. I mean, it was a pitching-rich team, and that's what made it fun to come down here and watch. And the Reds had some good battles down here with the Braves.
You're right. It was almost like a clinic every time you come here, and you get to sit with Maddux, Glavine, Smoltz, Avery. You know, when Merck was here before he joined us. It was great to talk baseball with all those guys.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, John Allen, who was running the Reds for a while, in fact, when they first opened up this ballpark, he was running the Reds, and Ted Turner owned the Braves, and they had a party for all the owners, an opening day party, so to say. And when John told Ted Turner, you know, thank you, he was representing the Reds, John was, and he said, thank you for having me at the reception. I'm going to go around and you know, taste some of the ballpark fare you have around here, and because they have a lot of new things. And Ted Turner grabbed him by the arm and said, you don't want to pay those prices out there. Here, fill your plate here and then take it out. I thought that was a funny story that has stuck with me for a long time.
If it was you, he would have made a mistake, huh?
I'd have taken that plate, believe me.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And I'll always remember, as you walk into the dugout of the Braves and walk up to the Braves clubhouse, there's a little room down there, and no smoking is allowed here at the ballpark. Bobby Cox always would sit there in the afternoon before batting practice and hold court. Waldrop fouls it off. A little cubby hole of a room, and you just sit there and talk about life, not about baseball necessarily, just about life. One of the best that ever not only played the game but managed the game. Of course, now Hall of Famer Bobby Cox.
Well, a little longer at bat here for Kyle Waldrop. First couple of at bats he came up there, he would have the thing over with before you know it.
2-2. Rip. Is it high enough? Is it long enough? It is off the top of the wall. It'll be a 2-base hit for Kyle Waldrop. A rocket shot down the right field line.
I really believe that Waldrop is a very intriguing player. He's got the kind of swing that reminds me of a guy that can really be a threat. Look at that pitch. It was a pitcher's pitch down and a sweeping swing. It didn't look like he really got his whole body into that ball. He's a very strong young man, and I'm actually interested in seeing him play a lot more.
Gets a start tonight. He's 1 for 3. And here's Holt. Tyler struck out, bounced out. So another run in scoring position for the Reds. They got 3 in the first, lead at 3-1. Way wide for a ball. And they're starting to rustle around in the bullpen for the Atlanta Braves. J.J. Hoover loosening in the Cincinnati pen. Ian Kroll up and throwing in the Atlanta pen. J.J. back. If you joined us late, call back up from Louisville. Join the club today. They're on to the stretch with 1 away and a 1-1 count. Finnegan has already reached the 100 pitch count at 102. That's the 100th pitch of the night for the Atlanta righty.
Well, the most that Teheran has thrown all year in one game is 111. He's done that twice, including his last time out. But he still looks like he's got plenty on the ball. Like that double by Waldrop, the first runner to reach since the first inning.
Retired 17 straight. Fastball in on the hands, nasty.
Way.
8 strikeouts for the righty from Atlanta.
Well, he had 8 strikeouts his last time out over the course of 8 innings against the Padres. Braves won that ball game 4-2. You know, if you look among those pitchers in the National League that have the least amount of run support, Teheran is on that list. Actually, there are a couple of Braves on that list. Teheran is, I think, 4th, and right above him on that list as far as fewest number of runs is the pitcher in the last day of this series, Matt Whistler. When you're averaging, you know, 2.7 runs per game in run support, your win-loss record's not going to look good at all. By contrast, the guy in the league with the most run support is pitching for the Cubs, Jake Arrieta. So with runs comes wins.
1 ball to Barnhart. That's low. 2-0. 2 away here in the 7th. Tucker tonight thrown out by the catcher on a dribbler in front of the plate and bounced to first, 0 for 2. Waldrop double. He's in scoring position for the Reds. Kroll joined by Ogando in the bullpen, so a lefty-righty combo. This one looped into left center. Smith is there. He'll squeeze it. That'll do it. So the Reds will strand a runner. They still lead it 3-1 as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Celebrating the legendary career of Pete during Reds Hall of Fame induction weekend, June the 24th through the 26th, Sunday, June 26th. Come to the ballpark early for a great on-field ceremony to retire Pete Rose's iconic number 14 jersey. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Ciardi's been called out of the dugout. He will pinch hit in the pitcher's spot as we go to the bottom of number 7 with Finnegan on the mound loosening. And Chris, once again, this makes 6. And here comes Brian Price waiting for the announcement of Ciardi. And now that Ciardi's been announced, Finnegan did his warm-ups, but as we've seen a number of times, he will not pitch here in the 7th inning. But hey, another 6 or more innings of quality baseball, his 8th quality start, and he will exit with a 3-1 lead.
You know, you're beginning to raise the bar of expectation up there for Brandon Finnegan, and all the while remembering that he's only 23 years old, the youngest starter in the Reds rotation. So congratulations to him. It's nice to know that you can expect a little more from Finnegan than some of the other guys, because he's been able to deliver.
Our Skyline Chili called to the bullpen for Finnegan's 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. We're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. To a performer from the night. They don't have to go too far, Chris. Number 29, Dandy, on this night.
What a nice job he did tonight, really. I mean, he battled around a few walks. He didn't have all that many 1, 2, 3 innings. In fact, he only had one of those. That was in the 5th, a 7-pitch inning. But he was in control. I mean, and he threw some great pitches.
So Finnegan will turn it over to the bullpen with a 3-1 lead as we go to the bottom of 7. If you joined us late, the Reds today recall from Louisville, J.J. Hoover. There's a bouncer off Hoover's glove. He double dribbles it, but still makes the play. Good job by J.J. 1 away here in the bottom of the 7th. Then Ciardi bounces out on the 1-3 putout. In addition to Hoover, Jose Peraza was called up, and they optioned to Louisville Daniel Wright. Jordan Pacheco placed on the disabled list with that sore shoulder that's been bothering him. But J.J. back, and Reds in the clubhouse glad to see him back, one of their most popular teammates, and hopeful that the numbers that he started to put up down there will continue to be good. Scooped, fired. Nice play by Suarez. The Speedy Smith nipped by half a step. That's a darn good play by the Reds third baseman, Chris. So quickly 2 away, and here's Chase Darno. Darno bounced out, walked, and struck out. Little giddy up on that at 92 miles an hour. JJ began the season with the Reds, but struggled in 12 appearances, 10 innings pitched, and gave up 18 runs. This one blooped behind the second base bag, but Cozart is there to handle it. Hey, that's a good way to come back. Welcome back, number 60. Tune you in when this one's over. Hopefully we'll have a smiling scoreboard to report on. So changes for the Reds with Hoover coming in. He hits in Kyle Waldrop's spot, the 6th spot. Selski comes in the 9th spot in the order. And pitching change for the Atlanta Braves. Tehran's night is done. 7 innings and 5 hits and 3 runs. Rather 3 hits and 3 runs. And he struck out 8. He'll give way to Chris Withrow, the tall right-hander, 6'3", 240 pounds, 27 years of age. He takes over and he'll face Selski, first batter of the top of the 8th inning. Selski, another one promoted from Louisville, and there's a whole lot of them sprinkled in both of these rosters. Doubled off Jaime Garcia, his first career hit. That was on Wednesday. And Sunday made his first start. Had a base hit playing center field against Oakland. Down at Louisville, all told, he hit over 280. 284 with a couple of homers, 15 knocked in. Shown versatility in the outfield. Good, solid, quick swing. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Selski, one of those players that has really beaten the odds to make it to the major leagues. 33rd round draft pick by the Reds. He was 21 when he signed out of the University of Arizona, which is in Tucson. And he just worked his way right on up through the ladder here at age 26. Gets the break to make it to the major leagues.
2 balls, 1 strike. Fouled off, held on to by Flowers, 2-2.
I said 2011 draft. It was really a 2010 draft. So, you know, you're continuing to evaluate your draft, you know, a half a dozen years later when a kid gets called up to the big leagues for the very first time.
9th strikeout of a Reds batter tonight. First for Withrow after 8 from Tehran. You know, the beat continues for Julio Teheran. Tonight he gave up again only 3 hits with 3 runs, but 1 home run. So in his last 3 games, he's given up 11 hits, but 6 of them have been home runs. This is the first time he gave up more than a solo shot, a 3-run home run from Jay Bruce in the first. Here's Cozart. Slap foul down the right field line for strike 1. Zach today flied out, struck out, struck out.
The other beat that continues for Teheran is the fact that his team doesn't score any runs when he's out there. I mean, he picks the absolute worst day of the week in which to pitch. Of course, about this Braves ball club, you could say 5 out of 7 are the worst days to pitch for them because they don't score any runs at all.
They are last in the league in runs. The 8 runs they got yesterday finally got them to 200 runs on the season. The Reds, for instance, 283 runs on the season. Brian Snitker, as well as the pitching coach, Cincinnati native Roger McDowell. One and 2.
All right, so the Braves just get to 200 runs on the year. The Cardinals have scored 350. The Cubs 336. And the Reds are about the midway point. They're number 8 in the league with their runs of 280.
Lifted in the air. Frank Coor over, got a beat on it. He'll snare it 2 away.
Just talking about home runs and offense, the Braves have hit 27 home runs on the year. The Washington Nationals have hit 87 home runs. So when they rebuild down here in Atlanta, one thing, maybe one memo would be to find some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And that's always, of course, been the rumor. Here's Votto after 2 were away. When they do move into their new park, that's what they'll do. They will spend for one of those big free agents. People point at Bryce Harper. Might that be the guy that they lure to try to come here?
I thought you were going to say they're going to have shorter fences. That'd be a lot cheaper than it would be than paying Bryce Harper a long-term salary.
Either that or, as everybody tries it, push the fences out, and then you realize that fans still like to see, as Tom Glavine always said in that commercial, everybody loves the long ball. They did it with pitching and run producing here in those 14 straight divisional championships. Strike right on the corner to Joey. 1 and 2. And they're trying to reestablish the culture. Bobby Cox always said, when you have culture and you have chemistry on a club, you know you have it. When you don't have it, it's so tough to get it back.
So he was a fan of Culture Club.
I don't know that he knew that music, but he knew what culture in a clubhouse was. And nobody was better than that. What's your favorite Culture Club song? I don't think Bobby would know it. We're not going there. We got Bonnaroo, you got Culture Club. This is a veritable night of music, huh? Here's a 1-2. That's why. The one thing we have noticed in these first 2 games, though, Chris, the Braves probably are the one team that has shifted the least of any team that the Reds have played this year. Brandon hit one to the wall last time, 1 for 3. Smith picked it off the top of the wall to rob him of at least extra bases, maybe a homer. That's fouled off by Votto. Phillips waiting to get his turn at bat, and Joey can prolong the inning. 2-2. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, I brought up Culture Club today, don't you? Because this is Boy George's birthday. And we didn't even wear bow ties. So we'll have to make it up next week.
This is the only time this year you haven't worn a bow tie. Doesn't look too good with a golf shirt, does it?
Yeah. Maybe a string tie next time.
Only you would know it's Boy George's birthday. Thanks, Kev. Full count 3-2. That's ball 4. So Votto will be on base for the second time. Both walks and 2 fly balls in between. Hey, Reds fans, be a part of history June 25th when Pete Rose is inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame. Arrive early for a pregame on-field ceremony. Receive a commemorative Pete Rose poster presented by Yucatan Guacamole. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. Well, what a great weekend of activity that the Reds have planned for you around the ballpark. Of course, at the Hall of Fame, Rick Walls and the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, everything that'll take place in and around downtown Cincinnati, directed at number 14 to take his rightful place in the Reds Hall of Fame. Here's Brandon. Swing and a miss. What do you think about this talk? I mean, everybody's been bringing it up this week with Ichiro closing in on the all-time hit record when you add up his to-be 3,000 hits in the major leagues and his hits in Japan.
Don't count me among those that feel that the hits that he had in Japan are equivalent to major league hits.
I'm with you.
Just not.
I'm with you.
Although he is a great player, and I really wish that he'd been in the National League more, because I would have loved to seen him play when he was at the peak of his game. He was getting 200 hits a year. He was fast. He had a great arm. He could hit for power. I mean, he just had this charisma about him. But who knows if he had played his whole career, how many hits he would have had.
1 ball, 1 strike to Brandon.
But don't remake the rules now.
No, I mean, celebrate what is a great career for Ichiro, but you can't compare. You know, I mean, look at Gordie Howe, you know, who passed away this week, and what a tremendous Mr. Hockey. And he had, what, 850 goals in the National Hockey League, and then wound up with over 900 goals, 950 when you take the WHA. But he never grumbled, you know, that Gretzky passed him. He embraced him. This one hit hard, down to short. They'll get the final out of the inning. Celebrate Ichiro, but there's only one hit king, and that's Pete Rose.
Presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, 4 hours of rain this afternoon. Finally, the rain broke. We were able to start the game on time. A whole bunch of Reds fans in town. And so far, so good. 3 runs, 3 hits for Cincinnati. A run, 4 hits for the Braves. If you joined us late, Brandon Finnegan pitched great. 6 innings and the 4 hits and a run. J.J. Hoover came in, had a quick 7th, 1-2-3. And here he is in the 8th inning, facing the meat of the order: Freddie Freeman, Francoeur, and Markakis.
What a boost to this bullpen if J.J. Hoover could come back and capture the kind of pitching that he gave the Reds last season, and really what they depended on him for this year. Came into spring training and then out of spring training as the guy who was going to be the closer on this team. Got off to a bad start and just kind of spiraled downward on him.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Reds overshift to the right side in the infield against Freddie Freeman. I got him. Well, Freeman gets hit for the 2nd time in the series. Hit last night, now hit again here tonight, and the 3rd Braves player to be hit in these 2 games. So the leadoff hitter on in the bottom of 8.
Well, he got hit on the arm the other time. That was in his 2nd at bat, and then he gets it right here on the arm again. Oh, really cutting in on him.
So J.J. peers in for the sign. Here comes Francoeur. Flied to right and bounced out twice.
Now you can see where Francoeur sets up in the batter's box. He's a guy that he's got long arms. He really likes to get his arms out there. He's telling me that he likes the ball away rather than inside. They're going to go away on him.
Hit down to short. 6, 4. Yes, sirree, 3. The twin killing. The Reds will race the base runner, and there's 2 outs here in the 8th. 52nd double play for the Reds in a week where they now have 8 double plays in the last 2 series. Not hit hard, so a nice turn by Phillips to complete the twin killing, and here's Markakis. Breaking ball misses. And you talk often, Chris, not only about velocity and movement and location, you talk about confidence, and that was part of the reason to send him down to get that back.
It was almost like towards the end there, before J.J. Hoover was sent down, that he was waiting for the sky to fall on him.
And the left center. There to haul it in is Selski. Number 60, welcome back. 2 good innings. Reds still lead 3-1. MLB All-Star Game in San Diego. Post a video of your bat flip to @FoxSports with hashtag #FoxBatFlipContest through June the 26th. Visit foxsports.com/batflipcontest for more info. Time for tonight's Volkswagen Drive of the game. There's been only one, and it's in the Reds' ledger. First inning. Jay Bruce, big swing, home run number 15. A 3-run shot came after a walk to Votto and a single by Phillips. The Reds led 3-0. It came off Julio Teheran. Teheran outstanding after that. He retired 18 straight before he finally gave up a base hit. But for Teheran, he went 7 innings, allowed the 3 hits and the 3 runs, and Jay Bruce's big swing is the difference in the game right now. So we're going to the 9th. Top of 9, the Reds will send up the Beaumont Bomber, now sitting on 15 homers and 49 knocked in. 1 for 3 after the homer, strikeout, and a fly ball out.
You know what I'm seeing different with Jay Bruce recently is that, you know, he's hitting a home run ball and he goes through streaks where he does hit a lot of home runs, but he's hitting different pitches for home runs. The one he hit tonight was one down and in. I think the last one he hit was a pitch that was up and in. So, I mean, he's got better plate coverage. He's getting the bat head to the ball in more parts of the strike zone now than he did earlier in the year, and certainly better than he did last year.
Here's Cervenka, the lefty, to deal to Bruce. Alvarez, Cervenka, and Kroll, the 3 lefties that Snitker has in his bullpen. The veteran Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kelly, who pitched last night. Johnson did too. Ogando, Vizcaino, and Withrow, the right-handers in the bullpen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Broken bat down to second, gobbled up by Peterson. 1 away here in the 9th. For the Reds, Blake Wood up loosening in the bullpen, and Ogando is also loosening in the Atlanta bullpen. And here comes Brian Snitker. The lefty got the lefty they wanted to get. Suarez due up next, so he'll usher in the righty, Alexi Ogando, who's been loosening. And while the pitching change takes place, we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. From Atlanta on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices, all at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. George Grant, Chris Welsh, Jim Day here at Turner Field down in the truck. Our producer Josh Hall, fresh off a nice few days, the Grand Tetons. Our director Brian Hunterman dialing up some highlights. Matt Sigafus and Lauren White with some creative graphics for us. Here's Alexei Ogando as we go to the top of 9, and Bruce bounces out for the first out. Suarez will face this right-hander. Suarez tonight, glad to see anybody but Julio Teheran. He struck out 3 times against him. This big, long-legged, heavy-throwing right-hander can bring it, Chris.
He can bring it, and he's got a very good slider, too. He's an older pitcher. He's 32 years old, Ogando has. He's actually, you may remember that he was an all-star back in, what, 2011 with the Texas Rangers. That's when he was a starter for the Rangers.
Fouled off 1-1 to Eugenio. Swing and a miss, 2 away. So Suarez, for the second time in this stretch, has been struck out 4 times in a ball game. And that now the 10th strikeout of a Reds batter. Here's Adam Duvall, who will come in to pinch hit in the pitcher spot, now the 6th spot in the lineup. Adam got the night off to start the night tonight. Kyle Waldrop started and had a double in 3 plate appearances. And Chris, the Louisville Cardinal never made it to the College World Series, but his alma mater really had a great year this year. And I know you talked to him about it. I have too in the last couple of days. They got a lot to be proud of what they accomplished this year.
They do. You know, it's indicative of how good baseball is in the Midwest and amateur level. Because Louisville, for the most part, you know, like Cincinnati, like Miami and Dayton, and a lot of teams, Xavier, Wright State, they're recruiting mostly, you know, within a couple of hours of their school, so parents can come and watch them play and so on. It's just a testament to how good amateur baseball is in the Midwest, and a great feeder system that they have, especially in the Cincinnati area and Lexington, Louisville area, Indianapolis, and so on. And it's good to see.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Adam. You know, there's a lot of ways to evaluate a program, wins in college and going to the College World Series, but what do your products do? And I mean, look at Adam Duvall. He plays the game the right way. Wherever you put him, he gives you good defense, good offense. He runs the bases well, and that's what they're producing right now at Louisville. There's the 1-2. Missing down and low. By the way, congratulations to Corey Ray, outfielder from Louisville. He's on the final top 4 list for the Golden Spikes. Kyle Lewis, the outfielder from Mercer, another one. Seth Beer, the outfielder from Clemson, and Logan Shore, the right-handed pitcher from Florida. Golden Spikes announced later this month. Breaking ball down and away. And congratulations to Nick Migioni. He's the new baseball coach at Kentucky. Takes over for Gary Henderson, who stepped down after 8 years. So he comes back. He was there a few years ago after spending 6 years at Mississippi State as an assistant. There's a 3-2. That's ball 4. Well, the Reds get a base runner with 2 away here in the ninth. And here comes Tyler Holt. Don't forget, join us tomorrow. Anthony DeSclafani pitched great in his first game back after coming off the disabled list. He'll go against Bud Norris, couple of right-handers. Reds live at 6:30. Game will follow. And then on Thursday, it's a 12 o'clock game. Dan Straley against Matt Whistler. Ogando to the stretch. Holt, 2 strikeouts and a bouncer back to the pitcher. Julio Teheran, 7 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, and 8 strikeouts. He pitched effectively. So did Brandon Finnegan, 6 innings, 4 hits, and only 1 run allowed. Missing down and away. There goes Duvall, swing and a miss. Here comes the throw. It is. Got there in time, but couldn't squeeze it. So it'll be a stolen base for Duvall.
What great timing for a stolen base, because Agondo wasn't thinking about it. It was a good throw by Flowers, but just looked like it clanked off the glove of Peterson.
First it looked like Duvall may have kicked it away, but it just went off the thumb of the glove. So second stolen base for Adam, and a runner in scoring position for Tyler Holt. Ball and a strike. Duvall inching off second. That's up high. Each team has had 1 hit with a runner in scoring position tonight. The big one for the Reds, of course, Jay Bruce's 3-run home run in the first. Two and one. And we'll even it up 2-2. When we go to the bottom of 9, Garcia, the number 6 hitter, Flowers due up, and then Jace Peterson, the number 8 hitter, scheduled up. Two. Down and away. Good at bat by Holt. Works it full to 3-2. Walks have been the bugaboo for the Braves in this series. Last night, 8 walks, 5 of them scored. 2 of them were intentional. Slap to the right side. Holt can motor. There'll be no play. He'll be safe. Rounding third, but holding there will be Duvall. See if they charge an error. It's a catchable ball, and they will. It'll be a second error of the day for Peterson. Not a clean night for Jace Peterson.
He bobbled a very routine ball earlier. This was a little more difficult because he knew that Holt had speed. He had to come charging in on it, but nonetheless, you're getting a real clear picture of why the Braves are who they are this year.
.49 errors on the season for Atlanta now, and it's first and third. Now here comes Barnhart. Tucker 0 for 3. 2 ground balls and a fly ball out. See if Holt will be off and running. Ryan Price would love to tack 1 or 2 more on to go to the bottom of 9 and try to close this one out. Big righty to the stretch. Holt off first. He's going, and there won't even be a throw. 2-0. Menegando does have a slide step, but his motion very deliberate. Even when he uses that, it takes him a long time to unload it. So now 2 out there for Barnhart. Base hit could pad the Reds' 3-1 lead here in the 9th. Duval walked. He's at third. Holt reached on an error. He's at second. Down to the second baseman. That'll take care of it. But the Reds go to the bottom of 9 with a 2-run lead. 3-1 to the bottom of 9 we go. For every game with all the information you need, all the highlights, all the stats that you can look for, we'll have it for you. That's Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Tomorrow, Jeff McCorrell, Brian Gieseslaw keep you up to date as Anthony DeSclafani, Chris, is going to take the mound. It was good to see number 28 in the Reds home uni go to work, and he'll make his second career start tomorrow at Turner Field.
Well, he had such a solid season last year. I'm sure that everybody's so disappointed that he's not been in that starting rotation right from the very get-go this year. But if any indication of the way he pitched his first time, what he can do from here on out, the Reds will certainly welcome his addition to the rotation. Sitting down next to Homer Bailey and Caleb Coffin tonight, soaking it all in before his start tomorrow.
All right, here we go. Bottom of 9. The Reds with a 3-1 lead. If you joined us late, Brandon Finnegan was outstanding. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run. 7 and 8 belonged to J.J. Hoover. He was outstanding. Hit a batter but got a double play. Required only the minimum number of batters, and it's up to Blake Wood, 30-year-old, born in Atlanta, still lives in Georgia. Whole lot of family and friends here for this series. Wood has been great for the Reds of late, giving them quality innings in most of his appearances, and yesterday was no different. 2 innings, no runs.
Yeah, he's been very good in those appearances where he pitches more than an inning. Now, he pitched 2 innings yesterday through 36 pitches. He had had a few days off, though, since his previous outing. That was in that series against the Oakland A's. That also a win by the Reds, 2-1.
That just misses, and it's 3-1. Wood does have 1 previous save in his career. That was in Kansas City back in 2011. That was a year he was in 55 games for the Royals. Big guy to the stretch. That's a strike. Full count, 3-2. Garcia, 2 hits and a stolen base tonight. Digs in. Here's the 3-2. That's wide. Well, second straight inning, the leadoff hitter is on, and that'll bring up Tyler Flowers, the catcher. Flowers struck out 3 times. All 3 of those appearances against Brandon Finnegan. This has been a bullpen that has been plagued by long ball late, and Blake Wood has not been one of those that's contributed to that.
In fact, the opposition is hitting in the low 200s against Wood. When he has his problems, it all has to do with control and bases on balls.
That's a strike. Flowers 3 homers, 12 knocked in on the season. The 3 strikeouts, 0 for 3 tonight.
Yeah, they pitched him away, and very effectively. Brandon Finnegan pulled the string on him with a changeup a couple of times, but for the most part just peppered that low outside corner.
And he's ahead 0-2.
And with his swing, he just can't get the bat out there.
No balls, 2 strikes to the Burley catcher for the Braves. Garcia down at first. He's already stolen 1 base tonight, but a very short lead here. Foul to the right side and out of play. Blake, born here in Atlanta, went to North Gwinnett High School, where he was an all-city selection, played 3 seasons at Georgia Tech, so coming home means a lot to him. And he'd love to pick up a save, the second of his career here. That's to the right side, and it's going to go through. Rounding second, going to third will be Garcia, and it's first and third. The tying runs are on, no one out here in the ninth.
Kind of bad luck right there for Blake Wood. He made a pitch that was up and out of the strike zone. And Flowers, who had struck out 3 previous times, just be able to get the bat on the ball and just kind of push it through that open part of the right side of the infield. I really, though, George, the way, and Barnhart's been there the whole night long. You know, Flowers hasn't touched a pitch low and away all night. Now, unless it was a complete miss of your location, why would you even think about coming inside to it?
Well, here's A.J. Przinsky moving into the on-deck circle with Jace Peterson coming to the plate. Peterson walked, singled, and flied out. Nobody out. Reds double play position, middle of the infield. There's one way wide. They'll give up the run, which would be the second run for the Braves, for the chance to turn 2.
You know, I'm just wondering, with the 2 innings that Wood pitched last night, and the 36 pitches he threw in that ball game, whether, you know, calling on him tonight, maybe just asking a little bit too much of him.
Trying to get his control in control here. Ball 1, they'll throw over to first.
Not a likely candidate to steal.
There's A.J. in the on-deck circle. That just misses a ball.
And where he's missing, if you've noticed, the same place he missed on Tyler Flowers, who got the base hit up and in. He's missing up and away to left-handers, up and into right-handers. This means you're not finishing your pitches. Flying open, and that's one of the first things that go when you begin to get a little fatigued.
2-0. That's ball 3.
I can't figure the leash on Wood will be much longer than this batter right now. Because if Cingrani is down there throwing, Pierzynski in the on-deck circle is a left-handed hitter.
Wood to the stretch. Here's the 3-0. That's a strike. Garcia off third. That's wide, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. No one out here in the 9th inning. With the Reds leading 3-1. Brzezinski announced. Out comes Mark Riggins to talk to his right-hander. Josh Smith is up in the pen for the Reds.
That Synchrony, for some reason or another, is just not available. I mean, he threw 7 pitches last night in an easy 1-2-3 inning. Picked up the save in that ball game last night. But
the other side of that is he's been like an everyday pitcher. 5 of the last 7 days.
Well, they did throw 3 days in a row, St. Louis, and then 2 days in a row with Oakland.
Well, here we are, bases loaded. Brzezinski at the plate facing Wood. Fastball fouled off.
You know, you might be watching a radar gun reading and saying, well, Wood's still throwing 96, 97 miles an hour. He's obviously not tired, but sometimes you don't see it in the velocity. You see it in the location and the explosiveness of the fastball.
Brzezinski 1 for 4 last night when he started behind the plate. Fouled off, and it's 0-2.
Reds will take a double play ball in exchange for a run here.
They backed up Suarez, so a ground ball to him, unless it's hit very hard, he'll go to second. No balls, 2 strikes to the big pinch hitter. Malik Smith, the speedy outfielder, on deck at the leadoff spot. Wood to the stretch. Here's the 0-2. Got him. Well, the bottom dropped out of that one. There's out number 1.
What a good looking slider that was. And Wood bears down, bows his neck, and gets a strikeout when he needed it the most. Boy, Brzezinski swung through one. Now that I see that in slow motion, that ball, Brzezinski just swung right through, right down the Broadway, and had a little depth on it.
Barnhart will go out and talk to the big right-hander. Bases still loaded, now 1 away. Double play could wrap this one up for the Reds. That's what they're hoping for. The guy at the plate, very tough to double up. Speediest runner that the Braves have, and that'll mean with a lefty up, Suarez will move even with the bag to the edge of the grass. He is one of 2 Braves with runners in scoring position that's been over 300 all year. That's up high for a ball. No place to put him. Bases loaded. Darno on deck. Smith tonight walked, bounce out twice to second and first, and last time up hit a chopper that Suarez took care of.
Now both Braves hitters last 2 anyway. Brzezinski chased the pitch out of the zone and swung and fouled a ball off, and now Smith has chased one out of the zone.
1 ball, 1 strike. In the dirt, great block by Barnhart. On a base hit, Garcia will score, but the runner at second, Flowers, good job by Barnhart. Short lead to start with. He's not taking a big secondary lead, so doubtful that he could score on a base hit unless it's a long single.
Dangerous pitch right there, a splitter to throw with bases loaded.
Here's the 2-1. Bounce down to short. Kozar, 6-4. Yep, they did it again. Another double play. The Reds' 9th double play in the last 2 series. And take a big deep breath, Woody. Finnegan gets the win. Wood gets his first save this year, his 2nd career save. Is he sucking some air right now, Chris? What a feeling, huh? Here's our Miller time moment.
Well, it looked like he was operating on fumes out there, Blake Wood. So what did he do? He turned it over to the defense, and it's our Miller time, Miller